You heard the rumors about Dr. Umar Johnson allegedly being arrested, all because he been scamming and scheming for the past 20 years. He been working on building a school, but he acquired millions and the school's still not up and running.
Now, according to IRS Form 990, the filings reveal disturbing financial irregularities, with Jermaine Shermock. That's how he files it. He doesn't file it under Dr. Umar. It's Jermaine, okay?
And the bank told me to enter my 16-digit card number. I did that. They told me they had no record of my account. They had no record of my account.
So the FBI just dropped a bomb on Dr. Umar's empire, slapping him with fresh federal charges that could bury him behind bars for decades. We're talking RICO, tax fraud, and wire fraud, all stacked up like a house of cards about to collapse.
Like, Dr. Umar is not a real person that anybody should be taking any advice from. I hope that we all understand that, but it seems like some folks are surprised.
And the craziest part, the feds claim they've got paper trails linking it all back to the donations he collected to build a school. Now the whispers are turning into shouts. Is Dr. Umar a real community leader, or has he been playing everybody this whole time? Before we dive into the charges, let's rewind to the exact moment Umar realized the feds had him cornered. Because trust me, he did not handle it well. He jumped on Instagram Live, unleashing one of his infamous rants. Except this time there was no bravado, no polished speeches, just raw panic.
Dr. Umar has access to no money right now because my personal account contains all of my money. I only send it to Apple Pay and PayPal as necessary. So the Prince of Pan-Africanism, for the first time in my life, is without any digital currency. So for my loyal supporters out there, if you can spare a few dollars so I can take care of Queen Mother Ifa Tunde and myself until my bank account is frozen or canceled so I can get my money back and open up a new account, please hit my Apple Pay or hit my PayPal.
He raged about the system being out to destroy an innocent black man trying to uplift his people. Normally, Umar feeds off that fiery rhetoric, but this hit different. His voice cracked, his face dropped. And for the first time, he looked like a man who'd just seen his whole world crumble overnight. And then came the kicker. He admitted his accounts had been frozen. At first, it sounded like more paranoia, but now we know those exact accounts are at the center of the Fed's fraud case. If their evidence holds up, Dr. Umar might not just lose his empire, he could lose his freedom for decades. Fans had no clue at the time, but it later came out that Dr. Umar filmed that meltdown video right after the feds told him to turn himself in. If you watch closely, you can literally see the second it hit him. His whole hustle was seconds away from being shattered to pieces. Reports say Umar eventually walked into the authorities on his own, but he tried to keep it low-key, begging his inner circle to avoid any spotlight. No cameras, no statements, no press, nothing. Just a quiet surrender, because he knew if the story blew up too fast.
According to IRS Form 990, the filings reveal disturbing financial irregularities, with Jermaine Shermock. That's how he files it. He doesn't file it under Dr. Umar. It's Jermaine, Now, the nonprofit shows assets of $634,436 as of 2024. This is what he's saying that he raised. This is what he reported. Now, you know he go begging inside of that car without a haircut every other day or on the side of the building in which he lives in, because they say his house is right there on a row house in Philadelphia somewhere, According to the IRS filings, this is inconsistent reporting of contributions, Now, while official filings show that only $321,408 in total contributions over the last 5 years, evidence suggests Johnson raised significantly more through other channels.
It could spiral out of control in ways he couldn't contain. But deep down, his biggest nightmare was the world finally seeing him as a straight-up scammer. The problem? He had no idea what was coming next, because right when he thought he could bury the RICO storm, the feds flipped the script. They leaked documents that tore his cover wide open. And just when things couldn't get any messier, guess who stepped in? None other than Tasha K, the queen of messy receipts herself. Tasha K tore into Dr. Umar's empire in a YouTube video that had everybody talking. She didn't just gossip. She exposed the receipts on his so-called charity and that mysterious school he's been hyping for years. She started by shining a light on Umar's school project, and this is where it gets real ugly. The FBI's indictment actually points to those missing donations as part of their fraud and racketeering case. Tasha didn't play around. She came with cold facts and numbers, not just wild claims. According to her, Umar was skimming off the top of the donations for his own personal lifestyle. On top of that, he allegedly dodged accountability by refusing to properly report the funds, all in a slick move to avoid taxes. And that's exactly why the feds are locked onto him now. Tasha's breakdown made one thing crystal clear: the money trail doesn't lie.
It's in Pan-Africanism, brothers and sisters. I'm back again. While I was on the live, the children had snuck into the school, which means they knew the door was unlocked. Listen to me, brothers and sisters. For children to know that a door is opened, and I was only away from the school for 30 days. For children to know that the door was open, and I was only away from the school for 30 days. For children to know the door was open, and I was only away from the school for 30 days, I wonder when they broke in. I wonder when they broke in, because if the children already know the door was open.
For years, Umar's been begging the community to fund this dream school. But let's be real. He never had the foundation, never had private money of his own. Every cent came straight from the pockets of the people who believed in him. And still, to this day, no one can say exactly how much was collected or where the cash actually went. Instead of transparency, Umar pops online demanding that black families ditch the public school system and trust him to build an alternative. Many folks saw right through it. They knew this was more hustle than hope. Even the name of the school raised eyebrows, since Umar loudly claims to be a direct descendant of Frederick Douglass. Plenty of people didn't see through it at first. They poured their hard-earned money into Umar's dream, convinced this school was finally going to change lives. But here we are, years later, and the doors are still locked. Every time an opening date comes close, some random setback pops up. Coincidence? Maybe. But with all the new dirt coming out, it's starting to look like Umar's been the one creating these delays on purpose. The latest stunt was beyond suspicious.
Supported GoFundMe campaigns, all right, that he's been suspended from through 2014 and 2015 of over $400,000 raised before the account suspension. That's a lot of money for GoFundMe, okay? PayPal donations, approximately $125,000 documented. Speaking fees and direct donations, estimated $750,000. This man raised all this money and ain't got a haircut yet. Total estimated funds, 1.6 to 2 million that they can account for, and this is with them digging. They've been on this, okay? And we're going to talk about how much they've been on it, and that's the reason why that damn school is on the auction block right now, vacant school that never opened. And he promised to open it in 2013 and kept pushing back the opening date and blamed us, well, not me, y'all, if y'all donated, as to why it can't open, because black people can't stick together, okay? Even though he was running it like a mom and pop shop.
And prosecutors are now using it as straight-up evidence that he was cooking up excuses to hide where the money really went. In June, Umar claimed the school had been vandalized, saying the library.
You mentioned Umar Johnson, and I don't know what's going on with his school, but I know that
you know what's going on with the school. It ain't been built. Shit, ain't nobody seen the classroom. Just seen the flag hanging out, flying in front of that.
He's been talking about it for 15 years, 16 years or something like that.
Yeah. He been lying. And results is everything.
Yeah.
Results is everything. I ain't never built nothing begging other than Joel Osteen, but his daddy passed him to church.
Yeah, that is true.
His daddy passed. I ain't never seen build nothing begging.
Cultural artifacts and school supplies were destroyed. Notice the pattern, though. The damage didn't touch the actual structure of the building, just enough mess to say, sorry, we can't open this year. To sell the story, Umar even posted a video of himself interrogating a group of kids, as if they were the vandals. The wildest part, he did it without their parents' consent, blasting their faces online just to make his point. But here's where it gets even shakier. The police couldn't find a single lead. No suspects, no real evidence, nothing. And when you step back, the only proof this so-called vandalism ever happened is Umar's own little video clip. And let's be honest, none of that so-called damage looked serious enough to shut down the entire school for a whole year. Something was off, and the internet started grilling him with questions. One viral comment nailed it perfectly. Where's the proof of this damage? Vandalism? Were you insured? Why not post even a single picture of it? Or is the real vandalism you and this whole fake project? And by the way, for someone claiming your accounts got frozen, your explanation is sloppy as hell. That right there summed up what everybody was thinking. Weeks later, the truth finally surfaced, and it made Umar's story fall apart even worse. Turns out, the vandalism delay was just a smokescreen, because behind the scenes, the property itself was in trouble. Records showed Umar hadn't been paying vacant property registration fees or even basic utility bills. Forget vandals, the real threat was foreclosure. By the time people connected the dots, the school wasn't just delayed, it was literally facing auction. Reports confirmed that if Umar didn't cough up the money, the property was scheduled to go up for sale by August 25th, 2025. So guess what Umar did? He went straight into defensive mode, his classic playbook. He cried that the fees were punitive and discriminatory, claiming the state was out to crush his dream school. Then, like clockwork, he flipped it into a sob story, begging his supporters to donate even more cash while painting himself as the eternal victim. But according to Tasha K, all of this was just Umar's desperate attempt to dodge jail time. And if you thought that was shady, buckle up, because the leaked federal documents took this scandal to another level. That's where the infamous PayPal scam came to light. The report claimed Umar had pulled in over $1.5 million in donations through GoFundMe and PayPal, not just for his school, but for multiple community causes he claimed were helping uplift Black people. The problem? No one can point to a single charity project with visible results. It's like the money vanished into thin air, while Umar kept spinning stories about fighting the system. Every time the heat came down, Umar hopped online with another fiery video, warning his followers not to let the system trick them into doubting him. That script worked for years, until people stopped buying it. The questions kept piling up and Umar had no answers. Charleston White even jumped in, exposing him in brutal fashion. He accused Umar of preying on Black women with emotional blackmail, acting like their ally just to line his pockets. Sadly, Charleston White wasn't lying. Dr. Umar has built his whole image around being a champion for Black women, even blasting men like Jonathan Majors for dating outside their race. But here's the twist. When those same women dare to question him, he flips the script and tears them down. That double standard has people furious, and now the truth is spreading fast. It's no longer just the so-called haters calling Umar out. Even longtime supporters are cutting ties, quietly pulling back donations and deleting him from their social media. Others are going public, straight up labeling him a crook and warning folks that he might be facing real criminal fallout. The tide is turning, and it's brutal. What really shocked people, though, was when one of his closest friends, Tariq Nasheed, broke his silence. Tariq sat down with DJ Vlad and didn't sugarcoat a thing. When asked about Umar's antics, Tariq admitted that at first he believed in the school project. And that's huge, because if even Umar's inner circle now sides with the Fed's version of events, the fraud narrative looks stronger than ever. Tariq revealed that he personally poured a lot of money into the so-called Pan-African dream, convinced Umar was really about the mission. But over time, his faith collapsed. Why? Because instead of focusing on education, Umar started chasing clout, posting rants, stirring conspiracies, and fueling drama just to stay relevant online. Then came the final straw, the big falling out. It all started when Tariq tried to caution Umar about straying too far from the original vision. You could see the respect draining out of him during that interview. At one point, it almost looked like Tariq realized in real time that Umar wasn't just sloppy, he was flat out shady. But here's the kicker. While Umar was busy trying to spin his narrative, the FBI had already been watching him for years. And the first strike in his file, it wasn't even about money. Back in 2018, the State Board of Psychology hit him with accusations of practicing without a license. That wasn't just humiliating. It painted a picture of a man who'd been faking credentials from the jump. Now, prosecutors are connecting that deception to a bigger pattern of long-term scams. Of course, Umar did what he always does. He denied everything. He screamed about being targeted, swore the system was out to destroy him, and cried about his Facebook and GoFundMe accounts being suspended with no explanation. He put on the same old victim mask, riling up sympathy from his followers. But here's the problem. The receipts told a whole different story. Documents, complaints, and suspensions didn't just appear out of thin air. They showed that Umar wasn't being silenced. He was being exposed. And just when people thought Umar couldn't sink any lower, the FBI's investigation started connecting the dots across years of shady moves. According to insiders, agents pieced together a timeline showing how Umar allegedly recycled the same playbook over and over again. Collect donations, stall with excuses, and then launch into his trademark, "The system is after me" rants whenever the heat got too close. The leaked files even suggest that federal prosecutors have multiple witnesses lined up. Former donors, ex-friends, and even people from inside his own camp, ready to testify that Umar pocketed money while stringing everyone along. That's why the feds hit him with RICO instead of just tax fraud. They're painting him as the mastermind of an organized scheme, not just a sloppy activist. And here's the wildest part. Investigators reportedly found transfers from Umar's PayPal and GoFundMe accounts leading straight into luxury purchases. We're talking first-class flights, hotel stays, designer clothes, the exact lifestyle he swore he was against. For years, he told his followers he was sacrificing everything for the community. But the receipts make it look like he was living off their donations like a celebrity. At this point, the writing's on the wall. Dr. Umar's carefully crafted image as a community savior has been ripped to shreds, and the feds aren't playing around anymore. Between the RICO case, the PayPal receipts, and even his own allies flipping on him, it looks like his empire is crumbling faster than anyone could have predicted. And the sad part, it didn't have to be this way. Umar had the platform, the donations, and the trust of thousands of people who believed he was building something real. But instead of delivering a school or even showing basic accountability, he doubled down on lies, rants, and shady excuses. Now he's backed into a corner, fighting for his freedom instead of his dream. Prosecutors are calling this one of the most blatant charity scams they've seen in years. And the fact that it dragged on for so long makes it even more unbelievable. If convicted, Umar could spend decades behind bars, his legacy reduced to nothing but a cautionary tale of what happens when clout and greed mix with false promises. But the debate still rages on. Some die-hard supporters insist he's being framed by the system, while critics say the evidence is too heavy to ignore. What do you think? Is Dr. Umar a victim of a federal takedown, or was he really scamming from day one? There are countless clips of Dr. Umar online playing the role of a shrink, acting like he's a certified psychology expert. He even uses those slick tactics to convince people to keep pouring money into his pocket. And let's not forget, he self-published that book, Psycho-Academic Holocaust, The Special Education and ADHD Wars Against Black Boys, where he argued that learning disabilities were just tools used to oppress black kids. But here's the twist. Years later, Umar dropped a video flat out denying that ADHD or mental illnesses were even real. So how do you go from writing a whole book on the subject to suddenly calling it fake? That contradiction didn't just expose him as a liar. It made people wonder if his expert act was really just another hustle designed to trap the vulnerable. When the feds began digging, the mask slipped fast. They discovered that Umar wasn't anything close to the authority he pretended to be. And now, every shady move, the fake school, the frozen accounts, The bogus psychology claims has circled back as Exhibit A in a massive federal case. The truth is brutal. His empire is collapsing, his supporters are peeling away, and the receipts just won't stop piling up. Unless he pulls off some kind of miracle, Doctor, Umar isn't marching into his dream academy anytime soon. He's marching straight into a cell. But what do you think? Was Umar always running a scam? Or is the system really targeting him unfairly? Drop your thoughts in the comments and make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more exposés like this.